it wrong, I'd ask that you first check your paper, see if you can figure out what you did. If not, more than happy to help you, or have a peer explain what they did.
I have a question about math.
Okay.
So I only have practice revisions left, but it still says that I'm not going to go to Discovery Day. Do you know if
That's
it's
more
like?
Estes.
I wasn't sure if you know, like, if it's put in who goes to Discovery Day and that's what shows.
No, it auto-generates based on the software algorithm. So it is looking at how many assignments you have out, compiled also with how many, like, if you have any math streams, it should keep them here. And now that I fixed that chapter 11 grade, go check your math again. So that, now that if that was the last math stream that you had, then it probably should be telling you that you're good. Okay, so check it again. So, yeah, chapter 12 quiz. So using the quadratic formula to solve each equation, it necessarily around the nearest 100. I'm not certain, based on the formula sheet that I saw, whether or not you guys are going to get, I'm going to follow up on this, but we just started talking about this last Friday. You're going to get the formula sheet for 8th grade or the high school formula sheet because you were taking the high school class. So if you get the 8th grade one, it does not have the quadratic formula on it. So I can't write on a PDF, forgot about that. But our quadratic formula is x equals
Opposite b plus or minus the square, b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a.
Wonderful. So our solutions here, who's got them? Anyone confident?
No.
Bueller? Bueller, okay, it is C. Go for it.
No.
Alright, Calvin?
For number 1,
Number 1.
negative 2/3 and a half.
Negative 2/3 and a positive half. Number 1 is a negative 2/3 and a positive half. Any questions on that? Okay, you just plug in your A, B, and C into the quadratic. So if you were trying to factor this would be difficult, but if you just plug it into the quadratic, it should work out. Well, Michelle? Try your quadratic again. Make sure that you get your quadratic set up correctly. And actually break screen that and bring it over here. Let's just talk about
4 would
this
make
so I can
it
actually
98
write
equals 0.
Alright, and number 2, your results there should be, go ahead.
Wait, never mind.
So negative 8.11 and positive 1.11.
I couldn't.
So it probably came down to like ninths. That's why you got the 0.11 and they just rounded it. I'm guessing, I'm not certain.
No, it wasn't. It just happened to be 1-1.
Okay. 3. How many solutions for number 3? Well, there are none. It shifts upward. So it is still pointing upward, and it shifts upward. It's not going to intersect the x-axis. No. Well, it will intersect in the imaginary plane, in the lateral plane, but not any real numbers. Number 4, it is still pointing up, and it was shifted down. It will have how many solutions? Those. Number 5, solving each equation, rounded to the nearest 100th. Megan?
Negative 5, 6.
Negative 5, positive 6 is correct. And number 6, some more decimal work here. Oh.
1 1/3 and a fifth.
1 1/3 and a fifth. 1 1/3 and a fifth. Moving on to 7. Simplifying these expressions when we are combining the real values and the imaginary or the lateral values. Rhea? 11 minus 2i, absolutely correct. Treat them like terms. And 8, like terms. Yeah. Megan?
8 minus 4i.
8 plus 4i.
Oh,
Careful about your signs. And 9 So this gives me 2 points and a y. I have been that's a major thing. So if we factor this,
You mean foil?
or yeah, FOIL, thank you. We get -3 for our first. -3, our outers are -10i. Our inners are a +6i. And our lasts are 20i squared. So -3, -4i, and a -20 when that turns into a -1. These should combine. You go -23 minus 4i, I believe.
Pen feels thicker today.
It is, because it's in the smart board.
Oh,
It's in the smart file,
Oh.
not writing an ink layer. So I can actually up here
I think I
control
meant the
thickness.
actual
That is-
pen.
No, I thought you were talking about, like, you know how people say, oh, it's kind of humid today.
Yeah,
Oh, it's kind of
That's
thick
No, the
today.
air is kind of thicker today, but no, I just needed to adjust the thickness because I just picked it up. All right. Any other questions up through 9? All right, moving on. Number 10. Identify the vertex, focus, and directrix. Remember, the directrix is the same distance from the vertex as the focus. Megan?
Okay. The vertex is 0, 0.
0, 0 for the vertex.
The focus is 0 and 1, 1/8.
The focus is 0 and an eighth.
Really? Okay.
It is.
And the directrix is y equals -1.
And your directrix is y equals, what did you say?
-1/8.
-1/8. Absolutely.
Good. Oh,
Any
cool.
questions with how we do that on 10?
You can answer it.
So our focus, our vertex is at the origin. There's been no horizontal or no vertical shift. Our focus, because of the change in steepness or intensity, is at 1/8.
Yeah, I know.
So 0, 1/8, because that's our y value because it's a vertical parabola. And then our directrix on the opposite side of the vertex from the focus, same distance, just ends up at -1/8. So y. Megan, where'd you get your 1/8?
That's the c value.
How do you find your c value?
It equals the thing that comes before the x, which is 1/4c.
1/4a, isn't it?
No, it's
It's
C.
1/4c. Because it's Kelvin.
Because it's the C value.
It's 1/Kelvin.
Wait, are you asking how she got her directrix line or how you got the focus?
They're both derived from the same number. 1/8.
I didn't get a 1.
Yeah, so how did you get 1/4? Can you check that? You have to work.
What's 1 divided by 1? Well, okay.
Andrew, over
So
to
what's
the
4
office,
times
please. Andrew.
1/8. It's a half. 1 divided by a half is 2, which is the 1 equals the 1/4c. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? It makes sense in my head.
A fourth would make it equal 1, not 2.
Because 1/1 equals 1.
Because you need to figure out what x value when plugged in and squared will give you the output that you're looking for. Just check your working. I bet you when you go back and reevaluate it. 11, a bit more complicated. Oh, they switched those answers. That's what they did. Okay, I found out where their typo was. Good thing I don't trust Pearson.
Trust Pearson.
Rhea? So, guys, Rhea, the vertex she said was 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
2,
Yep.
4 is absolutely correct. And the directrix is y equals 2. Make sure you phrase it as the line because you need to specify whether it's y equals or x equals. If you have a horizontal parabola, you're going to end up with an x equals. Our standard vertical parabolas give us a y equals for our directrix. In 12, we're looking for solving by substitution. Really, you can solve through whatever method you would like because they all get you to the same place. Okay?
0, 3.
So
Zero
those are
and
the x values, but when we solve, we need what the actual
Oh.
points are. Because remember, this is not saying it's at the x-axis. This is saying where in the coordinate system will these functions have the same inputs generating the same outputs. So I agree, you have an input of 0, which gives you the output of -1. So one of your points is 0, -1. You know the other point?
3 and 2.
3, 2.
Well, 3, 2.
So you have 0, -1, and 3, 2. 13, again, we need xy coordinate points. Calvin?
2, -6.
Yep.
-1, 0.
Yep, -1, 0, and 2, -6. And 14, 1, sorry, I got it. 14 is 1, -1, -4, -6. Any questions up through 14, whole thing? Anything that like maybe you didn't want to ask it right then, but now you're like, okay, I still don't totally get it. Michelle? 11 is the vertex at 2, 3. Focus at 2, 4, so just one above your vertex. And your directrix then will have to be one below the vertex at the line of y equals 2. Snap, I have a mag light in my car. Talk about that problem. We were talking about moving
I mean,
the
you
bulb.
can go do
You
that.
can leave it now.
I know, I can't. Anything else up to 14? Supposed to wait till it feels awkward. Alright. 15. What type of function would best model this set of data? You look at the change in y as you change x. That's a little difficult because my change x goes 3, then like 3 up, then 2 down, then 6 up. So I could reorder these points, but then I'd have 1 up, 2 up, 4 up. So these changes are kind of hard to deal with. We could build a table and check it out that way. We could plug in points into our calculator. We can do a lot of different things. What do you think? What function will best model this? There's kind of a giveaway. Is not exponential. Caleb? Why?
There's 2 11s unless I mean that's sort of impossible if you think about it.
Not
It's
impossible.
not impossible. For every other graph would be impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you have a little U shape.
Except, well, if you're just looking at those points, it could also be linear.
It could be a straight line.
But the other points.
So, by the fact that we have these and then have other points that would show us either the dip down or the dip up, then we know that it's quadratic. So you have 2 of the same output generated from different inputs. That's a key step towards determining that it's quadratic.
Oh, I was watching math videos, and I found a thing that had to do with parabolas.
Yeah.
It was the elliptical pool table.
I saw that. It's sweet. You can bounce up.
A number file?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put the ball on one focus, and then the hole
This
as
is
the
why I like
other
this
focus.
class. It's always
And
the
then
nerdiest
No
group.
matter which direction you hit the ball, if you get it with the right force, it will always go into the hole.
So wait, would you say it's number file?
Number file, the elliptical pool table.
How do you spell it?
Is that a circle?
But it's elliptical.
Nerd.
Okay, I'm at least gonna watch this thing. If we end up with
Watch it
time,
now.
well, if we end up with time, we'll watch it.
Oh,
No, that is not what that means. It means eventually we'll get to it, but we might wait till April, May as opposed to doing it right now.
one of my favorite Incredibles quote.
Moving on to
We get there.
16. 16, you are trying to set up the equation for the circle. Remember, your formula just uses the radius and the center point. So, Rhea, you have your hand first.
Y equals 5 plus minus square root of 4 minus parentheses x plus 2 parentheses squared.
So you actually didn't have to put in the y equals 1. It just asks for the equation our like standard equation of a circle is actually in that x minus y minus form. So you're fine with what you did, but did anyone have the other form, Calvin?
Quantity x plus 2 squared plus quantity y minus 5 squared equals 4.
Absolutely. X minus your horizontal, which becomes plus then. Y minus your vertical, obviously both of those get squared, equal to your radius squared. It is essentially the Pythagorean formula. It's the best. He was the best. So equation for 17 then. Michelle? Okay. Yep. In standard form, it would be x minus 2 squared plus quantity y plus 1 squared. So parentheses. Oh, just grouping. I don't always say it, but when you're verbally speaking about things grouped, you can say quantity. So when I say quantity x minus 2 and then I say squared, you know the quantity ended because we squared the quantity. So x minus 2 squared, y plus 1 squared equals 49. That would be your standard. 18. A couple people came to ask me about that, which essentially is what this graph is showing. Rhea? So if you want to talk about possible, there are two max solutions. Megan?
It could be no solutions, one solution, or two solutions.
So if we want to talk about all possibilities, there could be no solutions. It means there's no point at which the two functions generate the same output from the same input. There could be one solution which says there's one point where that happens, or two where that happens twice. And describe how to sketch the graph of the circle with the equation. Who can give us a simplified method for how we do this? Oh. We can't. We totally can't. We don't even need to. You could also just break apart the equation what you know. That's the opposite of your horizontal shift. That's the opposite of your vertical shift. That's the square of your radius. Boom, boom, boom. Put it on the graph. Any questions from any of this quiz? This is kind of the last prep that we're doing for 12 before the mastery. Yes. Go ahead, I'll get it pulled back up.
So you know how we use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions? And if the discriminant solves to be a negative number, it's no solutions. If it's 0, it's one solution. And if it's a positive number, it's two solutions. On 3, the discriminant solves to be negative 5, so 0 solutions. And on 4, it solves to be 37, so 2 solutions.
So he's talking about just the discriminant, what that gets you, the whole thing under the radical. But if we look at this practically for what has happened, if we want to compare, so let's drag that over here, and if we use some Desmos to compare what is being done, my first function is h squared, right? My standard parabola. And I can shift this and see it whatever. When I compare what has been done to the parabola of 2h squared, the first thing that happens, intensity changes. Then the minus 3h introduces a horizontal shift. And the +2 rounds out that there was horizontal and vertical shift. So that now shows me that's where the parabola is. So if you do not remember the method of the directrix, think about what shift has happened in this parabola compared to the parent function, which here is red. This is never going to intersect the x-axis at a real value. There would be non-real solutions, but those don't count. Like when we're working in the Cartesian plane in our normal standard system, we only care about real solutions.
Did you mean to say directrix?
What I say?
Directrix. Like, was that what you intended?
No, discriminant.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. So discriminant is taking the data from the equation and just making it tell you if it's positive, if it's 0, or if it's negative, how many solutions. But if you can't remember that method, just think about what does the graph tell me, right?
So can you graph circles on this?
So the one that they just gave us, right? So we had x, let's do 17, x minus 2, quantity, then squared, plus quantity y plus 1, quantity squared. There's a button on the keyboard that will do squared, equals 49.
There are probably some keyboards that have that.
Desmos is smarter than your graphing calculator.
We should
Desmos
carry
is smarter
around the
than your graphing
Desmos in our
calculator.
pocket.
So when you go to graph circles on here, it perfectly works.
I'm telling you.
And your zoom is always a straight 1-to-1 unless you change your graph to make it not that way. So your circle never looks oblong or anything weird like that. It actually is presenting the information in a way that your brain likes better than the skewed frame of the TI. Any other questions from that chapter 12, please?
What's next?
Any last questions from chapter 12? Homework. We did not get done with 12, 9, 10, 11, 12 the other day, so I asked you guys to, on your own, investigate through the answers and figure out if you had any questions left. So, 12, 9, 10, or 11. And today is essentially our last day dealing with 12, unless we need to continue on. Right?
How many questions are on the test?
Probably like 30.
What?
That's not
But like some of them are just plug into the calculator, solve it. Some of them are just look at it, solve it. Some of them are algebraically solve it. Some like it's all sectioned out. That's the problem. That's why we did some quizzes to break it up and prep for it. Because on the test, there's only like 2 questions probably for each different topic.
how many graph?
There are 2 where you physically draw the graph. That's it.
Wait, so this is chapter 12?
Yep.
Why is it longer than this?
What? Oh, because this was just a quiz. That was the second half of the chapter. We're talking about the mastery that is going to encompass everything.
I thought, wasn't the first quiz we took also a master?
Yes, but that went into math. This is never going to go into math. This was just so we could prep for the mastery, for the actual end of chapter summative. So there's formative and there's summative. Formative is as you're going, let's check what we know while we're learning it. Summative is you should be done. We should know this. Let's make sure that we know this. So this, if you look at the top of the quiz, it tells you it's only 12:7, 12:12. It only covers the second half of the chapter. But if you can do what's in the second half of the chapter, you probably remember what happened in the first half. So hopefully I'll show you guys the test.
Like everyone
I
copied
think
on the
that
answers.
goes.
No.
Like the test answers or just?
Yes,
No, like just the test questions. I'm gonna pause this so